Hello pumpkins, and welcome back to Mistic Reacts. Today we're watching the video by Casual Geographic, animals that not even AI could come up with.
Oh my god, what is that?
Monkey?
Oh my god! What
Bear?
is that?
Llama. Holy shit, my eyesight. Bat! I saw a bat.
This is what happens when you try to make a sequel without paying respect to the source material.
Okay.
Nature clearly tried to recreate the biological box office hit that was a giraffe, but on a budget. The result is an animal that 100% spawned a cryptid myth or six. If the
I think I saw those like a photo of them in history, not history, science class. Those are so cool. So let me turn this down my end.
tall one's a giraffe, then this is a rough draft. We don't talk about Gerenuks enough, and we really should, because explaining this animal to the wrong people in the wrong times would have been cause to have you lobotomized. And you know they're not AI, because Gerenuks can go their entire lives without drinking water. Well, technically anybody can, but getting moisture from leaves and shoots means Gerenuks can live a full life without ever sipping water. Allen Iverson could never. You know what huskies look like after getting shaved? Well, Gerenuks look like an alpaca with alopecia, while also looking like a kangaroo doing a handstand. Go ahead, pause the video and squint, you'll see it eventually. But the Gerenuk is a gazelle.
My vision's too bad,
its
I
closest
can't see
relative
anything.
likely being the one you think of when you hear the word gazelle. Gerenuks are built different, literally structured abnormally. If you didn't know any better, you'd assume you saw something that rhymes with wind soccer. And the pose makes me think they inspired the freak deer that folded Finn from Adventure Time. But of course, the most uncanny feature is that pinhead. Nature had to give them buns of steel and iron quads just to act as a counterbalance. Why they didn't just give them a normal head? Well, that is beyond our comprehension. It is nice to know an animal built like a Wendigo still has decorum. I defy you to tell me this isn't a male Gerenuk holding down a branch for his girl. Ain't nothing artificial about this intelligence. Some stuff is just universal. There's really nothing like a Gerenuk, but there's a distant relative of theirs that's arguably more mythical. The Saiga looks like Narnia in the face, and that's saying something because I never watched Narnia. But it feels right.
Real?
The Saiga is an yo, editor, can we better. The Saiga is an unusual and underrated antelope that used to populate the steppe in millions. That's actually why they have the NSFW nose. You see, that double barrel nostril situation was an adaptation to filter out dust kicked up by the massive herd. The same nose also cools the blood in the summer and warms up air in the winter before it gets to the lungs. It's a multi-purpose proboscis that makes them Antelope Alf, while also serving as a built-in mask. Yet that mask couldn't save the Saiga from its own pandemic, because in 2015 there was a mass outbreak of a bacteria that caused blood poisoning in the infected and killed 200,000 and erased 2/3 of the global population. But the Star Wars Extra has made a comeback, with their numbers rebounding from less than 40,000 in 2005 to today over 4 million, with Kazakhstan ecologists estimating that they'll hit over 5 million by 2030. Thank the powers that play for that, because just imagine showing somebody this picture of an extinct animal and being like, yeah, this was taken all the way back in 2015. So if you needed to hear good news, you'll be happy to know the Saiga is looking like it's here to stay. You might be less happy about this though. I've seen some adorable looking grasshoppers in my day. A smiling bugs-like paralysis demon is not one of them. To be fair, it's not a grasshopper, it's a katydid. Same insect order, different insects, and I hear they get real offended when you confuse them. This katydid belongs to the Copophora genus. A genus that looks like a sick joke with members perpetually mocking you for it. There's not a single situation where a bug needs to look like this. And maybe it's partly my fault, because I can't look at this and not see two brick yellow teeth giving me the world's most devious smile. He's built like a Courage the Cowardly Dog plot device, Freaky Fred looking. That smile should get you put on the list. And the thing is, they're not just an assault on your sight. Giant katydids have the distinction of being one of the loudest insects on Earth.
Why is it like a gun? Kind of.
You know, I don't know everything, so I wasn't sure if that audio was edited or not. But after listening to other clips, I've come to the conclusion that, yes, this bug can, in fact, send a war veteran back to Vietnam with a touch of its wings. That wing rubbing is called stridulation, and it's not just an alarm clock for PTSD. Some katydids sound exactly like chirping birds. And just like birds, the call is mostly for attracting mates, and some male katydids will form boy band groups to sing together to help each other keep the rhythm, which is apparently a major turn on. And if you think the bugs show respect to the original IP, 1, katydids came first, so the birds sing like them, and 2, some katydids eat birds, so
ow.
Yeah, katydids let their nuts hang. Literally, because fun fact, cover your ears kids, but the largest testicles on the planet belong to these bush crickets. You don't have to believe me. You can Google it, and then you can explain your search history. Just know, there's not a single prompt you can...
What? Go back?
kids, but the largest testicles on the planet belong to these bush crickets.
Okay, I think he's joking. I don't think he's being literal. I was like, there's no way. Okay, I think he's joking.
You don't have to believe me. You can Google it, and then you can explain your search history. Just know, there's not a single prompt you could give a computer that
Mine
would
are
lead
bigger
to this.
than that.
And that's the thing with AI. Nature's weird enough without people making stuff up. And this is the most AI-looking animal I've ever seen. Goats in general don't seem to be real. Like, they're constantly testing what they can get away with in the Matrix. And the Markhor is no different. The Markhor genuinely looks mythical, with a reputation that actually precedes them. Their name translates to snake eater because of their habit of curb-stopping serpents and, predictably, eating them. At least according to folklore, and locals would collect the chewed cud of these goats, believing they could use it as snake anti-venom. Also, the national animal of Pakistan is a lot bigger than you think, with males often getting to over 200 pounds, which is pretty big for an animal you've probably never seen before. And if you have, and this Gandalf goat looks familiar, they were actually Thor's emotional support in Love and Thunder. The Markhor is a beautifully majestic specimen. Which is funny because if we were ducks, I'd literally have to censor that. Male Markhors use those iconic horns to battle cliffside for females. That and they were created a day Nature's ice cream machine came in. Whether it's them allegedly landscaping the snake population, their cinematic fights to the death, or just Markhor parkour, you gotta admit, this goat has more aura than anything an algorithm could come up with. Now this goat, holy freak shit. Now, I think every animal's beautiful in its own way, but that starts to change once people start playing God.
Its mouth looks like a monkey
from that
angle.
With this goat. We ruined them just like we did the powder
It looks like a monkey wearing a goat skin.
Enough, Damascus goats look almost normal as kids, only to get Pearl Harbored by puberty. They say for every ugly mug, there's at least one who'll defend it. So I'm still waiting for someone to defend the animal.
How does that evolution occur?
This is the one time I wish it were AI, because they look like their existence is constant pain. That is not the skull of an animal that should have been afforded.
They are pretty good.
This is now the third case of unnecessary censorship. Looking like Rocky Dennis's persona is even funnier when you realize a Damascus won a beauty pageant for goats, with Gar being named Most Beautiful Goat in 2008. And yes, those are the pictures PR went with. And I'm sure the goats are nice people, and they didn't ask for this, but that's what human hubris does. It turns goats into Dark Crystal characters. That's a lot of effort just to get one-upped by nature. Like this. Not only is this real, but this cat and that shark have something in common. I see you all have questions, and I'm gonna get to them, starting with the biggest one. Why do you know the things that you know? You should have been asking yourself that after I brought up bush cricket this. People ask me how I know so much about animals and even why I'm so into them in the first place, and I don't know, but the answer is likely undiagnosed and very undermedicated. It's really nothing for me to spend hours, even days, going down the rabbit hole of my fixation of the week. It's when it's time to sit down and make the video and retrace the rabbit hole. Yeah, I waste a lot of time that way. That's why I feel pretty good about today's sponsor, Opera. Don't touch the mouse. Now, see, that's actually the problem. We're in an attention recession. Luckily, Opera can help with that. Opera's a web browser with features I honestly wish I had around in college. Features like Tab Islands. Tab Islands lets you group your tabs by theme or project. And with the player feature, you can detach the music and float it around to control it without clicking back and forth and speed bumping the workflow. So whether you're a student, creator, or just chronically online, there's at least something for you on this browser. The link will be in the description if you want to see for yourself. Shout out to Opera for sponsoring this video, but more so, shout out to Opera for sponsoring my recreational rabbit hole habit, because this was one hell of a rabbit hole to go down. You are looking at a rare albino cyclops found inside the stomach of a pregnant dusky shark. He looks like a petrified Agent Plecky from Lilo and Stitch. Actually, no, he looks like one of those disgustingly hyper-realistic frames from SpongeBob. You know exactly what I'm talking about. This deformed fetus is a result of one of the freakiest defects in nature. Damn it. Holoprosencephaly is a rare condition where the brain of a developing embryo fails to separate into two distinct halves, instead forming one mass. Obviously, this causes a laundry list of problems, and psychoplia means one eye gets stuck right in the middle. It's the same condition afflicting this kitten. Unfortunately, this condition has been described as being incompatible with life, which is a really dramatic way of saying you're basically born in past tense. But the weirdest part is HPE is caused by a mutation in the Sonic the Hedgehog gene. Don't laugh, I'm serious. In the early stages, it's this gene and the Sonic the Hedgehog protein that separates the eye field into two separate eyes. And maybe that's why the Speed Freak has one eye with two pupils. Oh god, I'm sorry, take it back. Oh, also humans can get holoprosencephaly too. I'm just not
That's
putting those
not a
pictures
human.
anywhere near this video. But yeah, the shark's
Okay.
real, but incredibly rare. That's not its base form. Not like this though. This is
Ooh.
platypus levels of nonsense. The star-nosed
Ground
mole is proof that people will let
thing.
nature get away with anything so long as it's small enough and so long as it spends most of its natural life underground. The mole looks like it sneezed while constipated and prolapsed from the other end, and those 22 facial flesh fingers or tendrils are freakishly sensitive. Where your hand has 17,000 touch receptors,
Really?
starfish face has 100,000 on its nose, making it the most sensitive touch organ in the animal kingdom. It's so sensitive, Cthulhu's pet can decide whether or not something's food in 8 milliseconds and actually eat it in as little as 120, meaning it's a Lovecraftian mole that eats faster than any other animal on Earth while essentially maxing out on reaction time. And since most moles eat their weight in food a day, star noses are in a constant state of binging. This mole would genuinely end all life on Earth, if only it weren't an eighth of a pound. Not
Good thing
only
it
because they
is,
would
though.
eat entire
Good thing it
ecosystems
is.
into collapse, because there'd be no way of escaping them. Not only are they speed-eating earthbenders with the internal discernment of a vacuum, they can swim and breathe underwater. Okay,
Ooh.
not really, but they can smell underwater, and they
Ooh,
do
what
it
is
by
it?
blowing air bubbles to trap molecules that mix with the air inside before
That
inhaling the bubble and, by
should be
extension,
censored,
the
I
trapped
think.
molecules. This means a diving mole can sniff out prey while underwater and even aim air bubbles at a specific target. And did I mention they do this blind? But somehow there's more, because this creature can smell in stereo. The same way you would compare differences in sound between the left and right ear to pinpoint the source, moles can do with their nostrils. Star moles are just a bunch of randomly broken skills and powers packed into a flesh flower faced fur termite. And if you can't say that 5 times fast, you better like this video. But you definitely heard of star-nosed moles before. As a palate cleanser, there you go. The cutest animal you've never seen. Because if I saw it, I wouldn't just think it was AI. I think it was bad Photoshop. How else does one explain a panda, leopard, meerkat ferret?
I
Well, the
want
last
it.
part's a hint. The marbled polecat is a mustelid, not unlike honey badgers,
Mustelid.
otters, and wolverines, albeit a little smaller. They're not even the only type of polecat, but they are the one that looks the most like animated taxidermy. They're the only ones that dress like a mother of 4 in divorce court. Marbled polecats stand out, and that might be the point. It's believed a defensive polecat will aggressively flash their colors as a warning. Not that they're venomous, but their attitude is. That, and polecats will take a page out of their skunk cousin's playbook and crop dust a threat with foul-smelling anal secretions that reek of the dead. Also, polecats might be more of a stereotype than honey badgers, as they're hyper-aggressive and regularly attack animals many times their size. This is the same calico ferret that made Ukrainian soldiers evacuate from a bunker.
Look at him.
Як його витягнути, блях?
He's just a little guy.
Так понятно, що він зараз працює.
He's just a little
Бля, диви, він хоче
guy.
напасти.
You know how insane you have to be to bite the ground out of frustration?
He's so
Someone tells
cute,
Zigzagoon it ain't
though.
that serious? Well, considering the loaded skunk shot, it actually might be. And on the topic of smell, last but not least,
What is that? I know what that is. I just don't. I don't know what it's called.
so not AI, but either that is a cartoonishly tiny truck, or binturongs are a lot bigger than I thought they were. This mammal casserole is also called a bear cat, but in truth, they're not either.
Yeah, I've
they're
seen
in
those.
suborder Feliformia,
Not
meaning
really.
they belong to the cat half of order Carnivora. And in Feliformia, binturongs are in the section that is the least
Binturong?
talked about. In fact, I could make a part 2 based on vivarids. Not a vivid ferret, you got your turn. Vivarids also include civids, like the one whose poop goes in coffee, and genids, which are cats nature drew left-handed. And it's the binturong
I'm
that is the biggest
left-handed.
vivarid, and with some females weighing nearly 80 pounds, they are in fact way bigger than I thought they were. I was not expecting a sloth bear from the back. So not a bear or a cat, but this black sentient bath mat can climb, and they have a prehensile tail to help them do it, which is why you'll probably smell them before you see them. It's true, a binturong bathroom break smells identical to hot buttered popcorn. A smell they use as a warning to rivals, but also as an invitation to the amorous. So if you're in the jungle and randomly smell a movie theater, you might be in the presence of a bear cat.
Okay.
Or death. Since yeah, tiger urine also gives fresh butter. In fact, that's probably why the binsies evolved to smell like that. Wait, that's not...
Why does it smell like
Wait, no, can someone
buttered
fact check me
popcorn?
on that? I just made that up, but it sounds real. Is that the reason why? Despite being built like a Mandela effect and half the population swearing they didn't exist a couple years ago, bear cats are part of the most primitive group of feliforms, meaning they're closer to being beta cats, despite them looking like nature hasn't unlocked
Can we
them
tame
yet.
them?
I can make that joke. I've earned it. Just a chuckling tree climbing Frito warrior. They also smell like Fritos. Raccoon, monkey, lemur, bear hybrid that can procrastinate and postpone pregnancy until the outsides are favorable.
Somewhere
also, the babies are called
between
bidlets.
good
I like
luck
that. And that's gonna do it for
deciding.
this video. I definitely left some animals off, so if this gets, I'm greedy, 220k likes, I'll do a part 2. But until then, drink water, hug your mother. Remember, reality will always mock fiction, and I'ma see y'all in the next one.
Hell yeah. Until next time, bye bye, bye bye.